Thank you all for coming here. It's just one of the most exciting days in my life. Always been a huge fan of baseball, and it's just a privilege and an honor to represent all the owners of this team and the board members, and it's so exciting. My first baseball experience, I got my dad handed me a glove and a ball. I only wish he was here today to see this, and to be teaming up with Derek Jeter is just truly, truly extraordinary. Just so excited about that opportunity, and to be with an icon like Derek as the CEO of the Miami Marlins is truly an extraordinary responsibility and a great experience that we're all looking forward to achieving together. Derek?
Yeah, first off, before we begin, we want to say on behalf of the organization, thoughts and prayers are with all the people who lost loved ones in Vegas, Puerto Rico, Florida, the Caribbean. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you. We want to thank a few people. We have to thank our fellow owners who gave us unanimous approval about a week ago. And Rob Manfred in the Commissioner's office, thank you for all your support throughout this entire process. Our group, our ownership group, we have put together a group that we are extremely proud of. And we have some of the owners that are here today. They've been very active. They will continue to be active. They've been very supportive, and they will continue to be supportive. We'd also like to thank our partners, MSD partners, Michael Dell's family office, for their support throughout this entire process. My family who's here today, my parents, my sister, my wife, for being supportive of me, and I don't like to say this word, but actually allowing me to continue in the business of baseball, because it's very time consuming. It's going to be a lot of work, but they've been supportive of me throughout this entire process. To Miami, we believe in this market. We believe in the fan base. We are focused on bringing the fans back, and we want to build an organization that's sustainable over time. We're going to build this organization based on respect, integrity, honor. We're going to have hard work, and I think those things are always rewarded in the long run. We're going to have high-character people that are on the field, that are working in the office, and that are going to represent this organization in the community. You'll hear words coming from this organization like community, culture, communication, patience. You're going to hear that over and over. Because in order for this organization to be successful, we're going to have to focus on those things. Our fans, they are our number one priority. We want them to get to know us as owners. More importantly, we want to get to know them. And we want to hear from the fans. And the fans are our number one priority. So having said that, one final thank you I'd like to add is to Greg Fleming and his group, because we would not be here, Bruce and I and our entire ownership group, without his hard work throughout this process and his guidance. So thank you. And we will open it up to questions.
Just one minor thing. I want to acknowledge my wife who's here. I couldn't have done this without my wife's support and my whole family's support. And as Derek mentioned, yesterday was actually my granddaughter's 10th birthday. It was a little bittersweet. Yesterday was a tough day for this country, and my hearts and prayers go out, as Derek mentioned. And we're excited, especially excited, the community. I've lived in Florida 38 years. I'm just so excited about this, and we know we have a lot of work ahead of us, and with Derek's leadership, I know we'll get there. So I want to thank you all for attending, and we'd love to take questions.
Steve, that was quick, man. That's just right away.
Very quick.
I'm just beginning.
Oh.
Why did you want to be a baseball owner, and what makes you think that you're qualified to do that?
Well, I always wanted to be a baseball. I was very vocal throughout the end of my career that this is something I wanted to pursue moving forward. Unfortunately, when you play this game, the time runs out. Everyone only gets an opportunity to do this for a short period of time. So I wanted to be in a position where I can be involved in an ownership group, and so I set my sights on that. I started thinking about it, learning as much as I could towards the end of my career. I lived down in Tampa, continue to live in Tampa, and I've been over at that minor league complex year in and year out, learning as much as I possibly could. So one thing that I've learned, it's been universally said to me from owners not only in baseball but in other sports, is regardless of how much success you've had in any particular business, this is a whole nother beast, and it's going to take some time to learn. So I'm not coming in here thinking that I know everything about team ownership. I do not. One thing I'm very good at is knowing what I don't know, and I surround myself with people who are much more smarter than I am, and I lean on them for advice. So we're going to put great people. We have wonderful people that are working in this organization now, and we're going to add some quality people as well that not only help me but help us turn this organization around.
The challenge ahead, obviously it was available. You want to be an owner, they were for sale, but why particularly this market, knowing some of the challenges that previous ownerships have had with revenue, with fans, with some of the things you mentioned that you're going to try to build?
Well, why this market? I live in Florida, so Miami's very close. Bruce lives down in Florida as well. These teams don't trade very often. There's only so many opportunities you have to purchase a franchise. But I'll be honest with you, I have my mindset on this for years, and I've been looking at Miami for years. I first had a conversation with Jeffrey years ago, and he had mentioned that this may be an organization that comes up for sale. So I set my sights on it, and this is what we targeted, and this is what we wanted. But we believe in this market. We feel as though that there's huge upside, and that starts with community engagement. We need to get back in the community, and we need to, bring the fans back.
Over here, Derek, Bruce, welcome. Joe Forsaro, MLB.com. I know you have a lot on your plate as you're hitting the ground running. Any update that you could offer on the status of the coaching staff, manager Don Mattingly, and anyone else that you're at liberty to say right now?
Man, this is the first day. You guys are the first. We spoke with the employees right before this, but I have spoke with Donnie. I saw Donnie yesterday. It's been a long season, so we told him to get out of here and go enjoy himself and get back to his family. But, we'll sit down just like any organization does at the end of the season and evaluate everyone. But, you spoke about Donnie in particular. Played with Donnie for a couple of weeks. He was a hitting coach. He was a coach. He was a bench coach. So I've known him. I've developed a relationship with him over the years, and I think he's done a great job. I have the utmost respect for Donnie. But we'll sit down. Everyone will sit down once the time is right and evaluate everyone.
Derek Batt here, Josh Friedman from 790 The Ticket here in Miami. I think a lot of people want to know, a lot of fans want to know the direction of the ball club. Surely you've thought about that as you've gone through this process. Are you going to? You said in your article in the Players Tribune that you want to develop a winning culture, but it's going to take time. Does that mean that you're going to build from the ground up in what is a pretty empty farm system and maybe trade some veterans to restock that system?
Are you trying to get me to tell you what I'm going to do? I mean, some things you keep private. You know what I mean? We have to sit down. We're going to sit down with me and Mike and his staff and figure out the best direction to go. But, yeah, we do have to rebuild an organization. It starts with player development, scouting. We have to be strong in those areas because if you're going to have a sustainable organization over time, you need that pipeline of young players that can come in. And so we're going to focus on everything. We're going to build it from top down, bottom up, however you want to say it. But we're going to pay attention to detail.
Derek, Clark Spencer, Miami Herald. Wanted to ask you, and Bruce as well, what ideas do you have in mind to try to re-engage the market here? Any specific things? Obviously, attendance is low. Just want to hear your thoughts on what steps you intend to take.
There are no surprises to anybody in the group about the attendance and the media contract and all the elements. It's just, again, as Derek mentioned, it's day one here. And we have to engage the community, both local, the city, the county, the local community right here in Marlins Park. And we're going to do that, and we're going to get the benefit of all the employees' input as well as a lot of people we've been talking to. We have to engage the community. We recognize that. And with Derek's leadership, it's going to be a great opportunity to do that. We know it's a long-term process. We will continue to make that long-term process, but we want to win the community and mostly the fans, not for just the short term, but for the long term. This is a long process, and we're prepared and we want to win.
In the corporate world as well. I mean, we want to have partners in the corporate world, and that's getting out and meeting the local businesses. We want this to feel like this is Miami's team. This is their team. We want to feel proud of it. And you mentioned attendance. I was saying this earlier. We went to the game on Sunday. Attendance was pretty good.
Pretty good.
It was pretty good attendance, and it's the first game I've actually sat in the stands and watched since I think I was in high school. So I had no complaints with the attendance. What was the attendance? There was a lot of people here. I've seen one game. The attendance has been good.
Derek and Bruce, for both of you guys, Mike Cunha from CBS 4. I'm curious how this partnership came to be, how you guys connected and made this work out.
Derek was there first. From my perspective, I just saw that Jeffrey was selling the team, and I made a call. I met Derek right away, and it's been a long journey. It's been 4 or 5 months, and it's so wonderful that it came to this fruition, and everybody's dreams were fulfilled here, and it's just an exciting time to be part of this community. So I couldn't be happier about that, and it's evolved, and now some of the fun aspects of the baseball side will start, albeit it'll be March 28th, I guess, but we have a lot of work to do, and with Derek's leadership and the support of all this great investor group we have, very diverse backgrounds, diverse experiences, I think we're going to achieve a lot, and we're very, very excited about the responsibility we have to do that.
Gentlemen, Chris Fisher with NBC6. My question goes in regards of, it's been widely reported over the past couple of years this team has operated in the red. Does that necessitate a rebuild and a tearing down or a cutting of the payroll for the roster on the field?
I don't know, all the numbers for the past. There were some years, I'm sure, that were different than others. It's a new beginning, as Derek pointed out. It's day one here. We're going to try to operate the team financially efficiently, successfully on the field, and we have a great starting point with some great employees and a great organization led by Derek, and really need to engage the community in a very significant manner, and we take that challenge very responsibly.
And look, the best way I think you can put it is, I don't like the word tear down. Look, moving forward, there's going to be at times unpopular decisions that we make on behalf of the organization, but just understand that every decision that we make is for the betterment of this organization. So we have that in mind, but the word tear down or rebuild, yeah, we are rebuilding a franchise, but I think a lot of times people associate those words with losing. You never go into a situation and the message is that we're going to lose. We're rebuilding it, and we're putting the right people in place, but everything is strategic, and we have a plan for what we're doing. But at the same time, you have to have patience.
Eric, Rolly Martin, Channel 41 over here, local TV Hispanic station here locally. What kind of a ball club would you like to build? Would you like to have power hitters, maybe a right fielder that can hit over 50 home runs?
I grew up in New York, man. I know what you're going.
Speed. What kind of a ball club would you like to build?
I don't know. I don't want to sit here and answer questions without sitting down and having an in-depth conversation with Mike. It's the bottom line. There's one thing that you guys will learn about me. You will not read anything about any players, any front office, before they hear it from me. So we'll sit down, and me and Mike will talk, and we'll come up with a plan, and we'll move forward. But when the time is right, we'll let you know.
Derek, Jim Barry here from CBS. We're here in Miami. Welcome. The life of a retired superstar can be pretty luxurious. You could play golf. You could.
I played. I did. I tried it.
I guess my question is, why not just enjoy the leisurely life, and why come and work this hard?
Well, I think everyone has in their mind when they retire that they're just going to sit at home, wake up, play golf, and then come back home, grab something to eat, and do it all again the next day. I tried it for a little while, but I like competing. Competition is key. I like to be a part of teams, and this is competition at the highest level. So it's something that when I retired, I haven't, Bruce was asking me this recently, I don't miss playing the game, but I miss being a part of a team. And to have an opportunity also to give back to the game at the highest level is something that's very important to me. I think it's the greatest game in the world. I think we have an opportunity to help grow this game. So that's what I wanted to do.
Derek, with all that said, over here in the center, with all that said, do you consider yourself, or would you call yourself a guy who's going to be a hands-on owner, a guy who's often at games, who's around the ballpark all the time, who's really in the mix daily, day in and day out?
Yes. Yes, the vast majority of my time and effort will be here working for the Marlins. So it's. I think you have to be present. You have to be involved. People won't respect you if in my mind, I don't think they would respect me if I wasn't here.
I'd like to address the elephant in the room, if I could. What are your plans for the home run sculpture?
Yeah, I read I was getting rid of it. Yeah. We had never even spoken about it, and then someone had mentioned that I was getting rid of the home run sculpture. So then I heard we couldn't, even if we wanted to get rid of it. So not saying we did, but
Every one of our partners has an opinion.
yeah, just like a lot of people have opinions, but that was something that never came out of my mouth, and I read about it, amongst other things.
And what can you say, obviously you're not going to get too specific, but about Giancarlo, talk about the season he's had, if you would, and trying to fit him into the future of this organization with the revenue challenges that you have here?
Unbelievable season. I don't know him well. I have not spoken to the team. I spoke to the employees earlier today, but I have not spoken to the players because it was an awkward time frame from when we took over the organization. We took over yesterday's when we closed. So I haven't spoken to him. But once again, anything that we're going to do moving forward with the organization, I'll discuss with Mike.
Mr. Sherman, Mr. Jeter, Jorge Hernandez, Univision 23, right over here. Welcome to Miami. Bienvenidos a Miami.
Thank you.
I'm all here, Mr. Sherman.
Oh, not used to the lights like he is.
How are you? Recently, you said, Mr. Sherman, that you were proud of your many years of investing, except for a couple of years. Why invest in the Marlins right now? How do you come up with the valuation of $1.2 billion for the team? And also, how do you plan on building up on the relationship with the Latino community in Miami?
Firstly, it's a very competitive environment we were in to get the opportunity to be so fortunate to buy this team. And I approached it in the same way, and it's just exciting to be here. And for Derek's leadership and his skills in engaging the community and to make history is something that's very, very important. We have to engage the community locally. We've been given this wonderful ballpark, and I sat there at the end of the game, and I just looked out when the roof was open, and it felt it was my little field of dreams. And it's extraordinary. It's about doing the right thing for the community. We know we have all our work in front of us, both on the field and off the field, and I know that we're up to the challenge, and I'm personally going to work as hard as I can to participate in that, led by Derek as the CEO, and all these decisions that are so critical. We have a great board again. We have great organization. We have people from the South American community involved in our investor group, and broadly South American, Latin America as well. And we're just excited about the opportunity that brings us.
Hey guys, Jessica Blaylock from Fox Sports Florida. Derek, you have a unique perspective as an owner, having been a player yourself. What did you learn as a player that you now hope to implement as an owner?
Take care of your players. I am coming from it, and I try to move forward and not look in the past, but I come from an organization that does a very good job of taking care of their players, and I think that's important. We want this to be an organization where the players want to come play, the employees want to come work here, and more importantly, the fans want to come watch games here. So I think you take care of your players and you take care of your fans and you make it a fun experience for both of them. So I think that's probably the one thing that I've learned the most is you have to take care of those people because you need them to be successful.
Derek, Andy Slater with 940 Wins in Miami. You guys are both sitting here today as new owners, so congratulations on that. Throughout this entire process, we heard that you guys had won a bid, then at one point you were out, then you're back in, and you're sitting here today. So when you were reading all that, what was going through your thought process, what was going through your mind.
You take that one.
Well, I mean, I don't read it. I hear about it, and I've told Bruce from day one, don't pay attention to some things that are being said because 95% of it was untrue. I've heard we were in it, we won, then we didn't have the money, which I think upset a lot of our investors because they have plenty of money. They may not have plenty of money now, but they had plenty of money leading up to this. So there were a lot of rumors that were going, that were out there, but I really tried not to pay much attention to it. I told the commissioner, I said, you will not hear me say a word about this deal until it's over with. And that's why I didn't speak. And at times it was difficult because there were a lot of things that were being said that were untrue. But I'm here to answer your questions now, but I didn't pay attention to the stories that were out there.
We were going to win all the time. We worked very hard to win. We all love Florida. We all love this community, and we just wanted to win. And Derek's won his whole life, as you all know, and that's why I knew we were going to win.
Having said that, we have to thank our shrinks and everyone that we used throughout this process.
Right. And our spouses who said, is this true?
Derek, Nobu from NHK. You have a former teammate, Ichiro, here.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him? Also, I have a question. You have an option for next year. What are you going to do about it?
Well, one, I haven't spoken to him. It's kind of an awkward position because we're in a position trying to purchase the team, so I didn't want to reach out. I guess, it's tampering if you're calling another team, but I don't know what you'd call it if you actually don't own the team and you're reaching out to someone. So, no, I haven't spoken to him. Ichi's always been one of my favorite teammates. I've said that. I was vocal about that when I played with him. But once again, I think Mike's around here somewhere. We'll discuss it, and then, we'll get back to you.
Derek, Craig Davis, South Florida Sun Sentinel. Do you have plans to change the look of the team, the logo, the uniforms, the configuration of the ballpark? Have you got to that point yet?
We talk about that day 2. Yeah, it's a little early to talk about that. We were so focused on acquiring the team that, a lot of these details that, we haven't gotten into because this was a long process. I mean, this is, almost a year ago when I started this. And, we were focused on, like Bruce said, winning the organization because, winning the bid for the organization because we cared so much about it. But, some of these details, it's going to take time. I mean, we're in a transition phase. At the bottom line, it's going to take us some time to figure out what directions we're going to go on certain things like that. But, we have plenty of time to make those decisions. So like I said before, it's going to call for a lot of patience.
Hi, Jorge Morejón from ESPN Deportes. Welcome to Miami.
Bruce speaks Spanish too, by the way.
Last year after...
¿Cómo está? That's all I'm working on it.
Last year after Jose Fernandez's death, Mr. Loria promised to retire his number 16, but it officially didn't. Would you keep this promise?
I don't know, because we haven't spoken about it. Obviously Jose did quite a bit for this franchise when he was playing. It was a tragic event, obviously, that cost him his life and others, but we haven't spoke about that yet, so I'm sure we'll get to it.
Gentlemen, down front. In regards to, sorry, I'm just blanked out there. But in regards to your ownership group, you spoke just about it moments ago. How many investors are there right now, and do you plan on trying to lure in more? Is that part of the process?
We have a great group of investors. None of them really seek celebrity or seek being in the newspaper, and there's a good group, whether it's 10, 12, 14, is not totally relevant, but what's important is their energy level and their commitment. They were almost all of them were at the game on Sunday. They spent 8 hours with us at the ballpark, and it was just an exciting vibe for us as well as for the fans, and we really love that. And in terms of your question about capital, we bought the team, so we own the team, and obviously the seller took our cash.
Derek, you want to invest, man? There's a minimum now of learned throughout this process. There's a minimum, but we'll take it.
Derek to the right here again. Josh Friedman, 790 The Ticket. When it comes back here to your right, when it comes to player evaluation, all clubs employ both analytics and scouting departments. Do you tilt one way or the other, and we'll put an emphasis on one side or the other?
It's a good question because when I began my career, that didn't really exist. It sort of started to amp up here at towards the latter part of my career. So I think everything in moderation. I would never be the type that relies exclusively on analytics because players have heartbeats. There's personalities, there's other factors that come into play. You can't just take someone's numbers from one team and plug them into another team and it works because there's pressures that go along with this game and there's personalities and you have to take the opportunity to get to know those people. So I think everything in moderation, but I think it'd be unwise not to utilize analytics.
All right, everybody, thank you very much. Photographers, if you're interested, we can take some pictures of the backdrop right here. You can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Go Marlins.